So I wanted to start installing the catch can. Looked it up some more, and I still don't really know what this thing does. Took the other one off. I'm figuring it's just an adapter. That's what I'm gonna be using it as. So if you guys know the real reason for it, then you can do that, but I'm just using it as an adapter. I'm trying to grab all this shit. There we go. So the only other thing is that my catch can isn't actually going to be going back into an intake. Only because I can't really put an intake on that because it hits all that. So I'm just gonna put like a mesh screen on it. Be perfect. So I'm not really gonna have that going in anything, because if you have it going into your intake here, then all the boost that's gonna be gone will just push right back in through the tube. So don't do it that way. It has to go on the inlet to the turbo, or else it's just gonna blow all the stuff out and it will not work. So this was the little tube thing, and then it had the other piece in the back, and this one had the hole through it, if you can see. Yeah, there you go. So what I'm doing is, since my hose doesn't actually fit on here, it's too small, I'm just using this one, and then I'm putting it over the top. There we go. And then after that's on there, then you can get the little hose, and that will go onto that. So it's pretty much just an adapter is what I'm using it as. I don't know the real purpose of it, but every single video I've seen, they don't have one of those. So I'm figuring it doesn't really do anything. I don't know. Good enough. So I'm just gonna be doing it from the catch can, or from there into the catch can, and just back out into the air, I guess, because I don't want all the blow by shit just going out while smoking. So I'm gonna get started. Alright, I'm starting the drain plug on the SC300. Shit, alright, here it goes. So perfect. Alright, so if you guys got a turbo kit for your Lexus or just non-turbo 2JZ, it might have something like this that'll bolt on to the bottom. This is actually my drain out of the turbo, but here, so this is the spot. Where'd it go? There it is. That I'm gonna be tapping into. So if you guys got one of these, then that would, you just tap the little holes, and that would just plug on right there and drill it in, put a gasket on it. But I actually got this as the drain into the block. So I'm pretty sure what they wanted me to do was weld it in, maybe drill a hole in the actual oil pan and weld it in. But what I'm gonna do is drill a hole in that, and then I'm gonna be JB welding that in the hole, because I don't have an aluminum welder, and there's no way in hell I'm getting that oil pan off without pulling the engine or taking the whole cross member in the front off, which is a pain in the ass. So I got JB weld, or Permatex steel, same thing. Permatex steel weld, same thing. Put the two epoxies together, mix them up, give it like a day, it'll harden. Make sure there's no oil. So see how there's like some oil dripping down? Make sure there's absolutely no oil where you're trying to do this, or else it might not seal right. So I'm gonna be getting into that. Gotta drain the oil first. I'm gonna drill a hole, reuse the old oil back through the engine to help get all the chunks of metal that I just drilled in there out. And I got new oil I'm put in there. And we should be done on that. And then I'm gonna test the whole turbo out tomorrow. I got an intercooler adapting pipe, so I can go from the little 2-inch, 2.5 inch from the turbo into the big 3-inch for the piping. Gotta put all my intercooler stuff on, run it back into the intake, and then we'll be done. Oh, if you guys have a catch can and you're trying to do it on your SC300, what I did is actually a mounting spot for the box, the factory air box right here. So I don't need that anymore because I'm gonna be running intercooler. So I just put mine, which is actually happens to be the same threads. So this is the little nut that came with the kit, the little bolt. That is the same exact threads as that. So I just put that on there. I didn't need this little adapter. I just used the one that has the little flange on there. And I just put it in there, The only problem was mine came with the preset hose, which is just too short. So I just kind of stretch it. And I mean, it fits on there and it's tight. It's just a little bit tight. I might get a longer hose, might not. For now it's good. If I can just turn that maybe. I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, for now, this is what I gotta do. Oh, and I just tucked it up under here. Makes it a little bit more nice. Gotta get started on that. Alright. Let me show you guys exactly where I put my oil feed. Or drain at least. Not feed. So I didn't actually end up after this again. Perfect. Alright, so I didn't end up actually putting it on the hole because the little fitting thing that I had. Oh, look at this. There we go. The little fitting thing that I had was too small for it, so I didn't want to put it in there, and then it was just gonna be loose, and it's gonna be leaking oil the whole time, and I have a problem. So what I did was in the oil pan part right here, I drilled a hole, and then I didn't tap it, but I drilled a hole that was just enough to get that part in there. And then I hit it with a hammer and smashed it open bigger on the inside so that it would have like more of like a lip on the inside, I guess. And then I put JB weld around it, and then I put it in the hole, like I wedged it in the hole real tight, put JB weld around it. And now I'm just gonna let it sit overnight, so that way it'll get all hard up, hopefully be oil proof. For now, I'm just gonna put my boost gauge in, and after that I got the charge pipe adapter to go from my turbo to the 3-inch piping. Gotta put all the intercooler stuff in, and then I'm gonna test start it. That'll be it. Alright, gotta get this boost gauge on. In case you guys are wondering, like, you have SC300 and you guys get a gauge with one of these things on it, it'll be the other way though, so we can like put it in a pod or in the gauge cluster, and then you screw it in and it'll sandwich it on there. But if you guys don't have anything, or it doesn't fit in anything, or you don't want to cut a hole in any part of your car, or you don't want to take anything off, if you just flip it the other way, like what I'm gonna do, and then you have the little tiny AC thing right here, if you just put it like on each side of that and push it in there, it'll go right in. Put it all the way back in there and it's not gonna go anywhere. It's pretty solid. Pull a little piece off right here and just run your wires down in there, and you can have your boost gauge. And if you don't want it in there, or you wanted to move it to a different spot, you just pull it out, and it didn't hurt anything, didn't put any holes in anything. That's still good. Everything's fine. That's what I'm gonna be doing. And then if I wanted to change it in the future, you can just pull it out, you know, put it at a different spot, everything works out fine. That's how to put a boost gauge in or mount it without having to mess up anything in a SC300 or 400. Alright, finishing up the turbo build. Oh, I guess it is. If anybody doesn't know how to do these braided lines, it's actually pretty easy. First thing you want to do is undo your little red part, or the part that doesn't screw in, like the top part. Undo your zip ties first, actually. So hard with one hand. There we go. Alright. Now what you're gonna want to do is get your little top piece, mine's red, slide it over the first part. Gosh, that was all frayed
If it's frayed a little bit, then this is going to be a lot harder than if it's not frayed. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. Hold on.
Okay, I finally got the fittings on there. Took forever. I frayed that one and I had to cut it. So if you do fray one, like you can't get the fitting on there because you frayed all the little metal pieces out. I use a Dremel. Pretty sure you can use an angle grinder. That'd work too. Just tape it up real good. I use duct tape. Just tape it up like super tight. Go in there, cut it off, and then put it over the duct tape. Because if you try and take it off, then it'll fray again. But if you put the duct tape on there, then it won't make, it'll like keep it from fraying, and it'll be good. So, where I drilled the second hole on accident, or the first hole on the turbo, if you just put like a piece of plastic down in there, that's what I did. Duct taped it on there, and then I got JB weld, put it in the hole, let it dry for like 10 minutes, then I took the tape off, and now it's just solid plug. Works hella good. Put that drain line down in there, or the thing to the pan. Now I'm gonna put the turbo on. Probably test start it. Don't have any of the intercooler stuff on yet, so I'll just make sure the oil lines are working. Go from there, I guess. Probably not gonna use. Yeah, fuck it, I'll use new gaskets. Alright, finally got that back on. Get all these hoses. Get that from there. Alright. This thing was a pain. The problem that I was having is when I was undoing these, sometimes the nut wouldn't come off, like the whole stud would come out, and that was the case back here, and it wouldn't really go back in there. It took me forever to finally get that bolt back in there. But I got it back on, so now just gonna bolt up all the rest of the stuff, and then I'll be done. We have a turbo. Alright, I got pretty much everything is on. Got all the fucking all the plumbing wired up. Hopefully. So I didn't actually put the turbo on the car yet because I just want to make sure it actually is gonna work before I go through the process of actually going and putting on the plumbing in it. The only one that I had a problem with was, see that back bolt right there? The only way I could tighten that was with a pair of needle nose pliers because it's in such a hard spot. Like, you can't get it in there, and there's no room back there for a wrench. I tried it, didn't work. So, I mean, it over tightened the other ones. And I got a needle nose on there and tightened it pretty good. I mean, it's tight, it's just not like super tight. Boost controller. All this boost lines up, but it's not really gonna matter. It's just gonna go right there. I just want to start it up, see if it spins, see if it at least putters, runs ish. All right, let's go and attempt to start it. Got the little boost gauge right here, but it's just gonna be sitting there, not doing anything. Move the seat up. Well, that would probably help. Having the keys. Look at those. Alright, now we're gonna try and start it. Make sure it's a park, keep back on good. Like shit. Smoking. Any oil drips? I don't think so. I think we'll just burn all the oil and or paint off. Because it smells more like gas than oil. Not dripping. Alright. Well, it's probably having these massive problems because there's no intake, there's no O2 sensors, no mass airflow sensors. Throw this little intake on. Yeah, that's probably why it's having a lot of problems, because it doesn't have any sensors of any sort hooked up to it. So let's splice this little mass airflow sensor into it real quick. Alright, got the mass airflow sensor hooked up. I just screwed it on there and plugged it in. I mean, it should be fine enough. Good enough. Doesn't have O2 sensors, so I don't know. Hopefully that will make it run. I think it's just doesn't have enough gas in the line or something. Let's see. Don't see any oil dripping really. This is a used turbo, so it's kind of already wet. I did see like condensation. It looked like oil out the back, but it was like water. I think it was when I was sweating, it was dripping in there or something. I don't know. See if it does anything later. Spins good. I mean, it was spinning pretty damn good. I'm pretty sure it has a good amount of oil feed, or else it wouldn't spin that good. So I'm not gonna check the oil on it, like through the dipstick. Oh. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty good. So one thing you should probably do before you go and start your brand new turboed car that you just turboed, has a oil bearing turbo in it, you know, real nice. What you don't want to do is right before you start it, actually when you did start it for like a good minute, you don't put oil in it. Make sure you put oil in the car before you start it. That is what I just fucked up on. So, I mean, it seems fine. I didn't run it that long. Turbo still spins good, so it's good enough. There's still a little bit of oil in it. Alright, time to actually put oil inside of the car now. That would be a good fucking idea. Alright, we actually got oil in the car now. Dry that off real quick. There we go. There we go. Right. Check it. Perfect. Oil in the car. Alright, now we may warm this thing up and start it, and circulate oil through the turbo now. Alright, now it's time to actually let it run and do its thing now. Now that it has oil. That'd be a good idea. Sounds about 10 times better now, yeah. Sorry, I had to go in to delete stuff out of my phone because I had too much iCloud storage. Ready? There we go. Alright. All better. Yeah, it's not as loud as you'd think. It's about as loud as I expected it to be. Turbos actually become like super big mufflers as you install one. Sounds good though, honestly. I like it.